In Los Angeles, on a fog-draped street outside Titan Edge Academy, the most prestigious Jiu-Jitsu school in California, a young woman sat still in her car, eyes locked on the glass doors ahead. Her name was Selena Ward, and today she was returning to the world that once rejected her. Not to ask for acceptance, but to overthrow it. 6:42 a.m. Crestview City. Fog still clung to the glass storefronts of yoga studios, organic cafes, and upscale gyms. Across the street from Titan Edge Academy, in a corner of a small parking lot, an old silver sedan had just powered down. Selena Ward sat motionless behind the wheel, hands clasped tightly together, eyes fixed through the misted windshield at the red brick building ahead. No billboards, no neon lights, only a single line etched into a black steel sign: Titan Edge Academy, Strength, Legacy, Order. Selena wore a plain black hoodie with no logo, faded grey sweatpants, her hair pulled into a neat bun at the nape of her neck. No one would have guessed the woman who looked like she had just come from a neighborhood gym was once one of the most lethal tactical operatives inside Project Revenant, a black ops program the government never officially acknowledged. On her left cheek, just above the brow, was a faint V-shaped scar, subtle but unmistakable to anyone who had glimpsed her past. It wasn't from a knife, not an accident. It came from a stray piece of shrapnel in Mosul when she was just 19. Selena flipped the rearview mirror down, staring straight into her own eyes. "Not here to fight," she whispered, "just here for the truth." Then she opened the door and stepped out. Each footfall on the cold sidewalk was a low note in the quiet symphony rising within her. Pedestrians passed without noticing. She didn't need them to. All she needed was to walk in, look around, and understand why her brother, Noah Ward, the man declared killed in a helicopter crash 3 years ago, had shown up in a photo taken in Erbil just 6 months ago. The glass doors of Titan Edge opened without a sound. The air inside smelled of sweat, rubber mats, and something sharper. The scent of a place not built for sport, but for control. Selena stepped through the threshold, and Titan Edge Academy became the first battlefield she'd entered in years, since disappearing into the shadows. The front desk at Titan Edge Academy was minimalist to the point of intimidation. A black-painted steel counter, folding chair, no greeting, no smiles. Only Dylan Sharp, a buzz-cut blonde guy in an affliction hoodie, hunched over his phone, typing rapidly. Selena approached. "Hi, I'd like to register for a trial session," she said calmly. Dylan didn't look up. "Name?" "Selena Ward." He raised his head, scanning her from head to toe. Silence. His gaze landed on her like she was an item misplaced on the wrong shelf. "You sure you're in the right place?" he asked, half mocking, half curious. Selena didn't respond. She just looked him in the eyes. Not aggressive, not submissive. That gaze made Dylan pause slightly. Then, with practiced laziness, he reached for a crumpled registration form and slid it across the counter with a dried-up pen. "First session's free," he muttered. "Coach will decide later if you're a fit." That word, fit, carried a heavy note of condescension. Selena took the pen. Her hand didn't tremble. She wrote neatly, precisely, as if signing a mission report, not some arrogant gym's trial waiver. When she handed it back, she was led into the main training area, a large high-ceilinged room with dark green mats covering the floor. The walls displayed photos of the academy's so-called legends. All white men, bulging with muscle, their faces smeared with blood and victory. From the corner of the room, Coach Maddox emerged. a barrel-chested, bald man with eyes sharp as a scalpel. He looked at Selena like he'd just spotted a stain on his mat. "We're not a casual gym," he said coolly. "This is Titan Edge Academy." "I understand," Selena replied simply. "Got experience?" he asked, arms folded. "Some," she answered humbly. Coach Maddox scoffed and turned to the line of trainees against the wall. "You hear that?" "Some. Get ready, folks. We've got a special guest today." A few chuckles. Someone murmured, "Another TikTok dreamer." Selena slipped off her shoes and stepped onto the mat. The overhead fluorescent lights reflected in her eyes, calm yet ice-cold. She was used to rooms full of people waiting for her to fail. And right there, in that very moment, Titan Edge began to underestimate the woman who had just walked in. The metal door at the far end of the room swung open. Chase Fulton entered, like the lead actor, stepping onto the stage of a tired, familiar play. He was tall, powerfully built, with swept-back brown hair, wearing a tight-fitting rash guard emblazoned across the back. Titan Edge Champion, no mercy. The trainees immediately parted to make way. A few clapped quietly. No one said it out loud, but everyone knew. Today's session just got a VIP. Chase scanned the room as if surveying his domain. His gaze stopped when he spotted Selena warming up in a corner of the mat. He frowned, smirked, then turned to Coach Maddox, speaking loud enough for all to hear. "What's this? New yoga class?" A wave of laughter broke out, thick, synchronized, dripping with mockery. Selena didn't turn around. She continued her warm-up, each movement fluid, intentional. Not flashy, but flawless. Not performative, but impossible to ignore. Chase wasn't done. He sauntered over, leaned in, and murmured, "If you're looking for the women's self-defense class, it's across the street." Still, no reaction. Selena simply looked up, locking eyes with him. No flinch, no fear, no hate. Only the steady silence of someone who had seen a real battlefield. In that moment, it wasn't Selena being evaluated, it was Chase. Something subtle shifted in the air, hard to name, but it was there. A few of the grinning faces in the crowd faded into uncertainty. Maya Ellington, watching from the hallway near the break room, furrowed her brow. She was one of the few in the academy who had received real training outside the Titan system. And the way Selena had just moved, she'd seen it before. Military protocol. Coach Maddox clapped once, sharp and commanding. "Enough. Focus. We're not here for theatrics." That's what he said. But his eyes kept flicking towards Selena, as if waiting for the tiniest mistake, to justify the prejudice he wore like a second skin. Selena stepped to the end of the line, alone. No one paired up. No one wanted to be that guy sparring with the strange woman. She was isolated again. But to Selena Ward, being alone was never unfamiliar. The atmosphere inside Titan Edge Academy's training hall had begun to shift, from mockery to wariness. But Selena Ward didn't seem to care. She stood quietly at the edge of the mat, eyes tracking the movements of the other trainees like a soldier reading the topography of a battlefield. Switch partners, takedown drills. Coach Maddox's bark cut through the room. The sound of shifting gear and stifled chuckles echoed back. Pairs quickly formed. No one chose Selena. Ty Briggs, a brown belt standing nearly 6 feet 3 inches, all shoulders and muscle, was the last one unpaired. Coach Maddox gave a cold nod. "Ty, help. Our new friend get a sense of how we train here." Ty gave a crooked smile. There was nothing helpful about the look in his eyes. They touched hands, the standard Jiu-Jitsu greeting. But the moment their fingers met, Tai charged like a bull, using his full body weight to slam Selena toward the mat. The takedown was more combat strike than training exercise. Laughter erupted across the room. Selena didn't respond with anger, she inhaled deeply. The second time Tai lunged, she sprawled, clean and technical, blocking the takedown with her knee and arm, then slipped her hips free with fluid precision, like water finding a way through stone. It was too smooth, too exact for a beginner. From the far corner, Maya Ellington narrowed her eyes. She had seen those movements before. Not from casual students, but from special operations training. Selena wasn't just experienced, she'd been trained to survive. Frustrated, Tai growled and went in again, this time with brute force, trying to pin Selena to the mat. But once more she slipped out. Flawlessly, calmly, without panic, without bravado. She wasn't trying to look strong, she simply was. A few students began to pause and watch. The early snickers faded, replaced by uncertain glances. No one said a word, but the silence itself was a weapon. Selena stood, bowed lightly to Tai, a gesture of respect. Even though he had tried to hurt her, she didn't need to defeat anyone on the mat, she just needed them to see. And now, they had. Selena sat silently on an old wooden bench near the edge of the locker room. Her right shoulder throbbed from Tai Briggs' deliberate slam. Sweat still clung to her neck and forehead, but her face was unreadable. Only her eyes remained wide, alert, as if calculating 100 threats all at once. A soft voice spoke beside her. "You okay?" Selena turned. It was Ethan Cruz, a small-framed white belt who had quietly avoided eye contact during training. He held out an ice pack, his expression sincere, though tinged with caution. Tai fights dirty. Everyone knows it, but no one dares to say anything. Selena took the ice pack and nodded silently. "I'm Ethan. I got paired with him once. Dislocated my shoulder 3 weeks off. Around here, if you're not like them, you survive by staying quiet or leaving." That sentence made Selena pause. She looked at the boy now adjusting his white belt. Palms rough with calluses, movements awkward. But his eyes, too steady to belong to someone weak. "And you? Why haven't you left?" Selena asked, for the first time speaking to someone inside the academy. Ethan hesitated. "Because I don't have anywhere else to go. And I want to get good, not to beat them, just so I'm not afraid of them anymore." Silence. Selena watched him for a long moment, then pressed the ice to her shoulder. She didn't smile, but in her eyes a flicker of warmth appeared. As if she had just recognized that within this iron cage called Titan Edge, there was still one person untouched by power or fear. "Thank you." Just one word. But in this world, sometimes a sincere thank you is the only treaty survivors need. Selena stood, said nothing more, and walked back toward the mat. Not to prove anything, but because retreat simply wasn't in her nature. Ethan watched her go, and for the first time in weeks, someone made him feel like he wasn't alone anymore. 3 days later, Titan Edge Academy once again echoed with the sound of bodies hitting mats, sharp counting shouts, and the usual sarcastic laughter from the group of seasoned purple belts. Selena kept showing up, always the first to arrive, always the last to leave. No small talk, no complaints, no search for validation. But there was one thing no one could deny. She wasn't like them. During balanced transition drills, Selena moved as if she and the mat were one solid entity. In every escape, there was no flair. But every touch was pure control. Her eyes remained open, cold and focused, as if they'd already witnessed too many real fights, where there were no referees, no points, only life or death. At one corner of the room, Maya Ellington stood with arms crossed, watching. As Coach Maddox's niece, Maya wasn't easily impressed, but what she saw today made her brow tighten. "She's been trained," Maya murmured. "Not an amateur, not some YouTube student. This is military, or worse, special ops." Selena didn't know Maya was watching, but she could feel the weight of that gaze, heavier than the usual contempt. Not ridicule this time, but suspicion. She didn't turn around, she just kept training. Meanwhile, Chase Fulton passed by. He glanced at Selena, snorted and smirked. "See anything special, Maya? That technique? Or is it just lucky yoga girl flexibility?" Maya didn't respond. She kept her eyes on Selena, who was now pivoting into a sweep with almost mathematical precision. "Some things don't come from weekend seminars, Chase," she said softly, emotionless. "So who is she then?" That single question, quiet, unanswered, was the first small fracture in the walls of Titan Edge Academy. A crack so small it could be ignored, but just enough for light to get in. One Friday afternoon, as the crowd inside Titan Edge began to thin out, Coach Maddox clapped his hands 3 times in the center of the mat. "Listen up," he announced with a sly smile. "Next Monday we're holding Challenge Day, a long-standing Titan Edge tradition, where the worthy rise to the top." His voice echoed through the room. A few students clapped, others exchanged glances. They knew exactly what that tradition meant. It wasn't a training session. It was a disguised execution, a ritual where anyone targeted would be pitted against the Academy's strongest. Usually, whoever walked off the mat afterward never came back. And this year, Maddox looked directly at Selena. "We have a new face who's quite enthusiastic." Chase Fulton whistled and stepped up beside the coach. "She wants to compete." Coach raised an eyebrow. "Then let's give her exactly that." Selena said nothing. She stood at the edge of the mat, her eyes cold and deep as a dried well. "Simple rules," Maddox continued. "1 match. If Selena Ward wins, she trains here for free for a year. And, I suppose, gains a little recognition." A few scoffs scattered across the room. Chase gave a slow, mocking clap. "If she loses," Maddox paused, grinding out the words, "she leaves Titan Edge for good." No one expected her to accept. A newcomer, no friends, no reputation, challenging the golden boy of the Academy. But then Selena stepped forward. She looked straight into Coach's eyes, then into Chase's, who stood tall, muscle-bound and smug. She didn't smile. She didn't flinch. She simply said one thing: "I accept." The room fell silent. No one reacted in time. Chase raised an eyebrow. Coach Maddox offered a crooked, contemptuous grin. "Good," he said. "Monday, 8 p.m., 1 match, winner stays." And just like that, every gaze in the room locked on Selena, no longer just scorn, now curiosity, unspoken fear. Who does she think she is? Or does she actually know how strong she is? Inside Selena's mind, there was no noise, no doubt, only one thing. She didn't come here to ask permission. She came to end a lie. Monday, 8 p.m., Titan Edge Academy was packed. The air felt thick. Old and new students gathered, some dragging friends along. Everyone wanted to witness the fateful match Coach Maddox had staged like a spectacle. LED lights were dimmed, leaving only a spotlight over the center mat. Phones lit up with camera mode, Anticipation buzzed in whispers across the room. 14 seconds. She won't last more than that against Chase. Chase is gonna crush her, trust me. Chase Fulton stepped out first. Wearing a custom rash guard with the Titan Edge logo in bold, his confidence was practically a dare to the world. He strutted around the mat like he was walking into a UFC title fight. Someone shouted, "Break her, Chase!" And the room burst into laughter. Then Selena stepped in. No music, no smile, just steady footsteps. A plain black rash guard, hair tied back. She didn't scan the crowd, didn't seek support. Her eyes locked onto one person, Chase Fulton. Coach Maddox stepped to the center of the mat. 1 round, no time limit, ends only by submission. Winner stays, loser disappears. He glanced at Selena with that familiar smirk, then clapped once. Begin. Second one, Chase lunged forward like a seasoned predator. A textbook double-leg takedown, the same move that had floored dozens before. Second two, Selena stepped back half a pace, her knees bent slightly. As if she already knew every frame of this moment. Seconds 3 to 5, Chase hurled his entire weight into the takedown, but her legs didn't lift. She pivoted smoothly, water slipping past stone. Her arm slid behind his neck. Seconds 6 to 8. In a motion so subtle it was almost invisible, Selena shifted, wrapped her legs around his neck, trapped his arm with her hip. A perfect triangle choke. Seconds 9 to 12, Chase thrashed. Eyes wide, he tapped once, twice, 3 times. The entire room held its breath. Seconds 13 to 14. Selena released at the exact moment she had to. Chase collapsed to the mat, gasping, his face a shade of purple from the blood cut off to his brain. Absolute silence. No applause, no comments. Just Chase's ragged breathing. And Coach Maddox frozen like a statue. The eyes staring at Selena had changed. No longer seeing an outsider. But something they couldn't explain. Selena didn't bow, didn't raise her arms in victory. She simply said in a calm, low voice, "I haven't even started." In the shadows, Maya Ellington, who had been quietly observing all along, whispered, "She's not normal." A new record had just been set. 14 seconds, one move, and a legend had awakened. The next morning, Titan Edge was still echoing with aftershocks. The 14-second video had been uploaded to a specialized martial arts forum, and within minutes it spread like wildfire. 20,000 views, then 80,000, then 300,000. The first comment came from a user named Spectre Watcher 77. "I know that technique. I saw it once, at a base in Kandahar. She's no amateur. She's phantom." Dozens of replies followed. "Oh my God, is that really phantom? I served with her team once. She dropped 3 Special Forces soldiers in 10 seconds. This isn't a joke. Project Revenant never really died." At that very moment, in a minimalist apartment, Selena sat on a hardwood floor. Her phone lay in front of her, screen pulsing with a new notification. One unread email, from an anonymous address. She opened it. No text, just a photo. Selena froze. In the photo was Noah Ward, her brother, long presumed killed during the 2018 Syria operation. He stood in a Middle Eastern marketplace. His beard was longer, his eyes heavier, but it was undeniably Noah. And in his hand, a newspaper dated yesterday. Below the image, one line was written in military cipher. "Don't trust the KIA report. Everything was staged." Selena set the phone down. A chill swept through her spine. Her heart pounded, not from fear, but from something she hadn't dared to feel in years: hope. And then, as if fate was resetting the board, another email appeared. Subject: Phantom. Project Revenant isn't finished with you. She tapped it open. A video played, grainy, low-angle, surveillance footage. The voice, however, was unmistakable. You think you can walk away? We made you, and we're still holding your leverage. Literally. Selena closed her eyes. Flashbacks struck like lightning. The nights in black site training camps, the agony of 48-hour physical evaluations, the screams of those who never made it. She and Noah, two of the few who survived. Psychological warfare, conditioning, obedience. They weren't soldiers. They were weapons, built to win wars governments couldn't admit existed. And now, that program still lived. Deeper, darker, deadlier. Selena stared into the mirror. She was no longer a soldier, no longer a tool. She was a sister, a survivor, and the only one capable of dismantling the machine that had once forged her. Phantom has awakened. The game has only just begun. The amber glow of sunset slanted through the locker room window. Selena sat alone, carefully cleaning her belt, her face composed. The jeers from the fight had vanished, replaced by hundreds of thousands of views and whispers of respect. But she knew. This was only the beginning. The door creaked open. Maya Ellington stepped in. Silence. At first I thought you were just here to show off, Maya said, her voice softer now. But after those 14 seconds, and especially after what I read in the comments, I was wrong. Selena didn't look up. She only replied, I don't need agreement. I need the truth. Maya walked closer, sat down across from her. For the first time, her eyes full of understanding. I'm Coach Maddox's niece. I know he's hiding things. And I know I've been blind, but I don't want to be on the sidelines anymore. Selena paused for just a moment. Maya continued, if you really want to find out who made your brother disappear and tear down the system that did it, I'm in. Silence again. Selena finally looked up, eyes deep as the ocean. Then we need someone who knows tech. I know a guy. Ethan Cruz was hunched over a library table, tinkering with code, worn-out headphones on his ears. When Selena approached, he pulled them off, eyes lighting up. You've got something new. For the first time all day, Selena smiled. I do, and a plan. A small room tucked behind an old coffee shop, lit only by the warm glow of a single desk lamp. Selena Ward sat between Maya Ellington and Ethan Cruz, her hands resting on a printed photo from the anonymous email, Noah Ward, alive, captured in a Middle Eastern market. A strained smile on his face, holding a newspaper clearly dated, after he was declared killed in action. Maya frowned. If this photo's real, then everything they told you was a lie. Selena nodded, her eyes fixed on the image. And whoever sent this knew I'd come looking for the truth. Or I'd be eliminated trying. Ethan turned his laptop screen toward them. I traced the email signal, dummy address, triple-layer encryption, but he clicked. It was sent from an IP cluster previously linked to Project Revenant. Maya whispered. The Phantom training program the government claimed was shut down. Selena nodded again. I was in it. With my brother. Noah's death was staged to silence me. On screen, Ethan pulled up a satellite map, highlighting a zone marked in red, an abandoned military compound on the outskirts of Nevada. This is our strongest lead. Old Army facility. Doesn't appear on any current databases, but still has power. Someone's maintaining it. and it's within 5 kilometers of an old signal encryption relay once used by Revenant. Selina stood, eyes sharp as a blade. If Colonel Gabriel Trent is still active, he's there, and he knows I'm back. Maya met her gaze, for the first time, not with doubt, but conviction. You're not alone anymore. I know how to infiltrate without being seen. I'll be your eyes on the outside. Ethan added, and I'll handle the data. If there's anything in that base about Noah or Trent, I'll find it. Selina allowed herself a rare, quiet smile. Then let's launch our first mission. The light bounced off the table as the three of them leaned over the map. 3 people from vastly different pasts, now bound by a singular objective: expose the one who manipulated, betrayed, and buried the truth. A soft beep sounded from the scanner on Ethan's screen. The signal was scrambled, but still alive. Selina stared at the blinking red dot in the middle of the desert. Noah. I'm coming. Night had fallen over the desolate outskirts of western Nevada, where only wind and sand kept watch. Under the pale moonlight, Selina Ward lay still inside a black SUV, parked roughly 500 meters from a barbed wire fence. Beside her, Ethan Cruz tapped rapidly across his tablet screen. Maya Ellington, clad in a dark jacket, surveyed the facility from a distance through infrared binoculars. 2 rotating cameras on the north side, Maya said through her earpiece. A heat sensor relay at the front gate. Left side has an old maintenance pipe. That's your entry. Selina checked the strap of her stun gun. No lethal weapons. She hadn't come to kill. She'd come to expose the people who had turned her family into tools. We've got a 9-minute window while the security loop rotates east, Ethan reminded her. 1 minute late, and the entire facility goes on lockdown. Selina nodded. That's enough. She slipped through the auxiliary fence, melting into the shadows as if becoming part of them. Her muscle memory activated like instinct. Every step, every breath, every line of sight calculated to perfection. The skills buried with the name Phantom were alive again. Precise, silent, leaving no trace. The back door clicked open with a soft hiss, unlocked by Ethan's custom decoder. Selina slipped inside the cold corridor, lit by flickering fluorescent lights, each blink pulsing like the failing heartbeat of a system too corrupted to die. In the basement surveillance room, 3 men in tactical gear sat watching monitor feeds. Selina entered like a ghost. Seconds later, all 3 were unconscious. No sound, no blood, no warning. She retrieved a keycard and plugged Ethan's USB into the facility's mainframe. While the data downloaded, Selina searched one of the guard's pockets. A key fob, engraved with a code, RD17. Selina, Ethan's voice came through her earpiece, tense, urgent. I'm in. This is huge. Holding cell maps, personnel manifests, and, he paused, a file titled Noah Ward, Post-Elimination Activity Log. Selina's hand trembled slightly as she gripped it into a fist. Confirm location. Underground, section RD17. Just then, an alarm blared. The breach had been detected. From the comm, Maya shouted, They know! A truck just pulled out of the compound. It has to be Trent or the original data. Selina sprinted into the lower corridors, racing past weapons lockers and interrogation rooms. She reached the door to RD17. The lock flashed red. She scanned the keycard. The door groaned open. Inside, emptiness. No Noah, no personnel, only a single photo taped to the far wall. Noah Ward, hands bound, eyes staring directly into the camera. Scrawled across the top in jagged handwriting, Too late. Selena staggered back, her vision darkening, then clenched the photo in her hand. This game isn't over. That night, Selena Ward's small apartment was almost completely dark. Only the pale glow from her screen lit her face, cold, emotionless. On the monitor, the extracted data Ethan had recovered from the Project Revenant facility. A folder labeled noahward.exe was unfolding. Image after image, line after line of encrypted audio. Then came the voice of Colonel Gabriel Trent in a chilling recording. "We've kept Noah long enough to guarantee his sister's compliance. When the time comes, she'll serve again. Not out of loyalty, but blood." Selena clenched her fist, knuckles turning white. Maya stood beside her, placing a steadying hand on her shoulder. "We won't let him drag you back into that hell, not again." From the desk, Ethan looked up. "I found it." "What?" Selena turned to him. "Trent's new command post, a stealth facility in Redwater Canyon, doesn't appear on any military registry, but civilian satellites picked it up. They thought they'd hidden it." Selena stood abruptly. "Get ready. This time, we're not going in for data." 3 nights later, a sandstorm swept across the Redwater Desert. Amid the howling wind, the low growl of an engine echoed. Maya's grey SUV crept to a halt at the canyon's edge. Selena and Ethan moved quickly, deploying lock breakers, trackers, and comlinks. "No military signal, but there's a massive power source underground," Ethan reported. "They're still active." "Not for long," Selena replied, strapping 2 compact charges to her belt. "We get in, find Trent, extract Noah, if he's still there. Then we burn it all." Beneath the earth, the dark corridors echoed with the crunch of combat boots. 2 guards turned a corner, both neutralized within seconds, one taken down by a textbook chokehold, the other with a non-lethal stun round. Selena led, body moving like a precision-engineered weapon, calculated, flawless. At the control room, Ethan plugged in his decoder. Maya stood at the door, armed and alert. "Trent's not here," Ethan muttered, "but I've got a tracking ping. It's from the same vehicle he used to extract Noah last time. It left the compound 15 minutes ago." Selena didn't respond. She yanked the partially downloaded hard drive, removed both explosive devices from her belt, and signaled the team, "Fall back." 5 minutes later, they were outside. As Maya reversed the SUV out of Redwater Canyon, Selena pressed the detonator. Boom! A thunderous explosion tore through the ground behind them. Followed by a cascade of secondary blasts, the entire facility collapsed into flame and rubble. Project Revenant wiped from existence. No files, no bunker, no place left to hide. On the drive back, no one spoke, but in their eyes, a truth had settled. Trent had lost his base, his leverage, his advantage. Selena stared out the window, desert wind brushing through her hair. Then she whispered, "Next time, we don't destroy where he hides. We make him face us." 3 days after the explosion at Redwater Canyon, Titan Edge Academy was no longer the place Selena had once entered under contemptuous stares. The photo of Selena choking out Chase Fulton in 14 seconds had made international headlines with the caption, "The woman without a belt who brought a system to its knees." Inside the academy, Coach Maddox was facing a storm. Sponsors withdrew in waves. Sporting authorities launched investigations into allegations of coercion, abuse, and gender discrimination. The data extracted by Selena, parts of which Ethan Cruz had anonymously distributed to journalists and retired military officers, sent shockwaves through both the martial arts and defense communities. Monday morning. Before dozens of students and a quiet group of reporters behind the glass, Selena entered Titan Edge once more. Not to train, but to end what had begun. Coach Maddox stepped out from his office, still trying to maintain his air of control. But his eyes had lost their sharpness. Selena didn't wait for him to speak. You once taught that martial arts is about control, but what you controlled wasn't technique. It was people. With fear, with contempt, with privilege. Maddox's fists clenched, ready to retort. But Maya Ellington, standing just behind him, stepped forward. I've signed the transfer of ownership. As of today, you no longer hold any position here. You don't have that authority. I'm co-owner. My name is on the contract, Maya said clearly. And now, everything you buried has been unearthed. At the same time, the National Martial Arts Federation issued a statement. Chase Fulton is indefinitely banned from competition due to ethical violations, systemic bullying, and his role in an illicit training network. Titan Edge Academy is suspended for 60 days, pending full restructuring. The next day, Selena, Ethan, and Maya stood beneath the old sign. Titan Edge Academy. Selena stepped forward, removing the letters one by one. Together, she and Maya installed a new nameplate, Mat 14 Academy, a place where the undervalued rise and win. Ethan snapped a photo of the moment and posted it with a caption. It's not about medals, not about rank. It's about the courage to stay on the mat, even when the whole room is against you. That afternoon, Selena stepped alone onto the mat. She knelt down, placed her military phantom belt before her, and bowed her head in a farewell ritual. The old path ends here. From now on, I fight for what I believe, not what they told me to serve. As she stood, the sound of footsteps echoed behind her. A group of students filed in, young men and women, black, white, brown, wearing belts of every color. They said nothing, only lined up behind her, silent, waiting for her to lead the first training session of a new era. After Titan Edge Academy was exposed and Coach Maddox was forced to walk away in disgrace, Maya Ellington stood alone inside the now quiet training hall, a place that had once served as a stage for domination, discrimination, and control. Selena stepped in, silent as ever, and laid something at the center of the mat. A plain white belt, no name, no rank, just a symbol, a beginning. What do you plan to do with this place? Selena asked. Maya looked around. The same eyes once blinded by her uncle's shadow now gleamed with clarity. Make it into what it should have been all along. A place to teach skill, forge resilience, not feed arrogance. In the weeks that followed, with help from former students once cast aside, Maya officially took over the academy. She renamed it Mat 14 Academy, a name inspired by the 14 seconds that brought down a secret empire and birthed a legend. Old photos, medals, and ranking boards were stripped from the walls. In their place, a single new sign was hung above the entryway. Hand-painted in bold, deliberate strokes. Skill, respect, community. In one corner of the dojo, Ethan Cruz, the same young man who once offered Selena an ice pack, was now head instructor of the youth class. He didn't just teach leverage and submissions, he taught how to overcome yourself. A quiet, underfed girl in a ripped GI showed up to class. Ethan guided her with patience, and after her first lesson, she bowed and whispered thank you, something she had never dared say to anyone before. Selena, no longer an outsider, still kept her distance. She held no title, she didn't officially teach. She would occasionally appear, seated silently on the sidelines during class, observing. To some, she was a myth. To most, just the woman in black, calm eyes, quiet steps, gone before anyone could approach. One late afternoon, after the lights were out, Selena left a sealed envelope on Maya's desk. Inside, a map, a code fragment, and a handwritten note: "If I don't come back, keep this place exactly as it is today. If I do, we might need to open a Level 2 survival course." That night, Selena returned to her small apartment. She opened her laptop and checked the tracking signal. One new anonymous message had arrived. She opened it. Only one photo: Noah Ward in civilian clothes, holding a newspaper with today's date. He was still alive. Beneath the image, written in military cipher, "It's time to trace it backward. The battle net is beginning to open." Selena exhaled, for the first time in weeks. Not out of exhaustion, but because she knew the real game was only just beginning. Dawn stretched across the rooftop of Mat 14 Academy. Golden light pierced through dust-covered windows, casting long rays onto the wooden floor. Where Selena Ward sat in still meditation, no combat stance, no guard raised, just a moment of peace, between storms already past, and the one yet to come. In her hand is a picture of Noah Ward, her brother, long declared dead, holding up a newspaper dated today. But for Selena, the real message wasn't the date. It was the angle of his hand, the tilt of the page, the brief glance into the camera. A coded signal only the two of them would understand. It was Noah's way of saying, he's still fighting, and he needs her. Selena rose. She took only 3 things: an old folding knife, a USB drive holding stolen data from Project Revenant, and a forged military ID stamped with the code name that had only been whispered online. Phantom. That night, in a secure, encrypted virtual meeting room, Selena sat face to face with 3 unnamed figures. Former dissident officers, once tied to the Revenant project. They had seen the leaked video Ethan posted. They had followed the quiet signals Selena had sent into the void. "I know Trent hasn't vanished," she began. "I have his coordinates. And I have what he's most desperate to keep hidden. A list of the people he never released. People still being held as black assets." A silver-haired man leaned forward. "So what do you want from us, Phantom?" Selena stared into the camera. Her voice was low, steady. "I want a team, not for revenge, for liberation." The next morning, Maya found the dojo empty. Selena was gone. On the mat where she used to meditate lay a single sheet of paper, handwritten. "Take care of Mat 14. This isn't where I walked away. This is where I began again." At the same time, Ethan received a secure data packet from an anonymous sender. Inside it, the full archive of Project Revenant. Every file Selena had pulled from Trent's compound. Attached to it was a simple message: "Even if I'm not there, keep teaching the kids how to fight. But more importantly, teach them why we fight." Somewhere in a desert outpost, buried in camouflage and silence, a security team in black tactical gear stood on alert. And then, emerging from the dusty haze, a single silhouette: a woman, wearing a black jacket, a low-brim cap, tactical gloves. She walked with no haste, but with an aura that could not be stopped. Her eyes, they no longer carried the look of a survivor. They carried the focus of someone ready to take everything back. "I am no longer a ghost. I am the one you tried to erase. Phantom is no longer in shadow. This is not the end. It's the bell toll for a new war. For justice, for truth, for the ones the world forgot." Some battles don't happen on battlefields. Some enemies don't carry guns. They carry agendas stamped with the seal of authority. And some heroes don't need the spotlight. Selena Ward, or the name once whispered in intelligence circles, Phantom Dash, didn't choose this path. But when they targeted her blood, when they built a world from lies and shadows, she walked in like a storm. To reclaim the light, she didn't go to finish something. She went to begin. A photograph, a coded message, a signal from the brother she once thought was gone. The game isn't over, and this time, she won't fight alone. If you believe in those who fight silently for the truth, if you've ever been underestimated but never gave in, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what comes next. Phantom will return, and next time, the whole world will see her.